The Lions of Little Rock, Chapter 12. Blood Like a Jewel. All Saturday evening and through half of Sunday, I got more and more nervous. I started pacing through the house, clutching my note cards. The third time through the living room, Judy caught my arm. "Your presentation's tomorrow, isn't it?" I could only nod. I'd lost my voice. How was I going to find it again? Come on, said Judy. Let's go to the Rock Crusher. Though we lived in the city, our house was in one of the newer neighborhoods. There were still patches of undeveloped land only a few blocks from our house. The Rock Crusher was an old abandoned quarry. The open mine sometimes filled with rainwater, making a small pond, but mostly it was just hills and trees and lots of rocks. David and Judy and I used to take picnics to the Rock Crusher, but I hadn't been there in ages. The pond was too shallow for swimming, so mainly it was a place for little kids to run around and collect rocks during the day. At night, sometimes teenagers would park there on dates or sneak off to drink beer. Mostly, though, there was no one around, and the woods were calm and peaceful. Okay, I said. I could practice there as well as at home. I started to gather up my note cards. Margaret said the old man who lives next to the Rock Crusher just got a horse, said Judy. She plucked the cards out of my hands and handed me 2 apples instead. The day was hot, so we walked slowly. Judy chattered on about the classes that had started broadcasting on TV for all high school students. 11th grade was on Channel 11, 7 a.m. History, 7:30 a.m. Algebra, 8 a.m. English, and so on. I knew she was going on and on to try to distract me from worrying, and even though I could see right through her, it kind of worked. When the classes first started, they were scary, said Judy. I kept thinking I was going to miss something and wouldn't be able to ask the teacher to repeat herself. Turns out, they keep it really basic, and it's pretty easy to follow along. I actually like the classes now. It seems familiar. A way to go to school after all. Like the lions, I said softly. What? Asked Judy. Like how the lions roar at night, I said. You'd think it'd be scary, but I've heard them for so long, it actually makes me feel safe. You're right, said Judy finally. It's like the lions. We walked in silence for a moment. I felt for the black feather. Even though it didn't work, I still had it in my skirt pocket. It was a gift from Liz. JT had only ever given me his math book, and I'd already had one of those. Judy, I asked, you ever have a crush on anyone at school? I mean, last year when you got to go? Yes, she answered slowly. Who? She shook her head. I'm not going to tell you. I'll tell you who I like if you tell me, I said. Fine, said Judy. Who do you like? JT, I admitted. I tried not to blush, but I think I did, just a little. Red's little brother? Judy asked. I nodded. Judy laughed, but it was good-natured. I pouted. What? Heard he's not the brightest. I shrugged. Awful cute, though. I waited for her to tell me who she liked, but before she could, a group of teenagers in cars pulled up in front of us at a red light. They were all honking their horns and yelling, and one boy even waved at my sister. Who's that? I asked. Some stupid kids from school, said Judy. They've got nothing better to do. Most of the cars had signs on their windows. High school students against integration. Support Faubus. Christianity, not communism. One girl leaned out the window and yelled at us. 2, 4, 6, 8, we don't want to integrate. Then the light turned green and they drove off. Do all the students at Central feel that way? I asked. Judy shook her head. Only the loud ones. She didn't say anything else. Pretty soon we came to an open lot with barbed wire fence. In the middle of a field was a gray horse. We crawled carefully under the wire and fed the horse the apples. I scratched her nose and she looked at me with wide eyes as brown as Judy and Liz's. I stuck my hand in my pocket again, and this time, when I touched the feather, I felt my fingers tingle. A surge of bravery swept over me, but I didn't trust it. I had to do something scary to test the feather, to see if it really was magic. I'm going to ride the horse, I said. Judy shook her head. Come on, I said. Just give me a lift. Judy held out her hands, and I stepped onto them. She lifted me onto the horse's back. The mare was very tame and stood still as I tried to arrange myself. I had ridden a horse once or twice before at Girl Scout camp, but of course I'd had a saddle then. I sat straight up and grabbed her mane just like they did in the movies. The horse turned her head back to look at me, and continued to chew the last of the apple core. I gave her a little kick, but I guess it was harder than I'd planned because the horse took off so fast I had to wrap my arms around her neck just to stay on. I could feel the horse's muscles moving under the skin. It was scary at first, but thrilling too, and pretty soon I was imagining I was a cowgirl riding off into the sunset. No, an Indian. I could take the feather from my pocket and put it into my hair and ride forever. The horse stopped when she came to the far end of the pasture. I slid off and rubbed her nose as I waited for Judy to make her way over to us. "It was great," I said. "You have to ride her too." Before Judy could answer, a man yelled out, "What are you kids doing with my horse?" We looked up. In the next field there was an old man with worn overalls clutching a shotgun. Get out of here!" he yelled. "Now!" We turned and ran, scrambled under the fence. Judy and I headed into the old quarry. After a moment I realized I had cut my thumb on the barbed wire and stopped, shocked. It hurt. A lot. And I started to cry. Judy stopped too and made me sit down on a large boulder. She took one look at my hand, then pulled out a handkerchief and wrapped it around and around, holding it tight. I kept sobbing. "His name is Robert Lawrence," Judy said quietly. "He's really smart and not that cute, but I like him anyway." I stopped crying, and we just sat there in silence. My sister pressed her handkerchief to my thumb. I would have a scar, but I didn't care. One final drop of blood oozed out and sat on my fingertip like a jewel, a secret given to me by my sister.